week one is up in the air.
Listen, he's such an important piece to that offense. That's why they signed him in this offseason. You hope he's healthy very early in this season. But guys, we're just getting...
This jacket is a direct reflection of all of you who have poured into my life and in my career. I might be the one wearing this jacket, but I hope every time you see this jacket, you see yourself.
Had it not been for sports, I probably would never cross paths with half of you. And that's why sports is such a great reminder to us as humans that we're not divided as people may think.
Deeply grateful for this incredible honor. We all share a deep love and respect for the game of football, and it transcends time and place.
I'm not going to bore you with talks of the University of South Carolina because, well, without them, unlike Antonio Gates, I had to go to college and play football to have a chance to stay here.
I just hope by watching you today, you understand that anything is possible. Not just in football, but in the game of life.
As Charles Woodson would say, Raiders!
As one half of the first brother selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you got to come up here and stand next to me, my man.
So as a Norseman by blood, because I am Norwegian, it was only fitting that I became a Viking.
The last time I was here, you said that you were the only pro football player in the Hall of Fame that could say this, that you were the second best player in your organization. Well, I agree with that statement, but
Hey, several legends of the game will be eligible for induction for the first time next year. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, and Frank Gore headline that list. Also, head coach Bill Belichick will be on the ballot for the first time after the Hall of Fame changed its bylaws last year to allow coaches to become eligible sooner after leaving the NFL. Also, guys, in case you missed it, check out this photo captured by Steelers DK Metcalf going up and grabbing a pass at camp. Aaron Rodgers is hoping to see some form of that this season. Now, guys, for more on what's going on in Steelers training camp, our Steelers reporter, Brooke Pryor, joins us now. Brooke, what have you been seeing at Steelers practice?
RC, I can tell you I have not seen much of those one-handed catches from DK Metcalf, at least when they matter in those team periods, 11 on 11, not even in 7 on 7. In fact, at yesterday's practice, the last time the Steelers were out on the field in Latrobe, Aaron Rodgers tried for DK Metcalf deep twice and missed him both times in that 7 on 7. So I asked wide receiver Scotty Miller, hey, are some of these misconnections because you guys didn't get a full offseason with Aaron Rodgers? Obviously no OTAs. During minicamp, he wasn't in the team periods. And he said, yeah, 100%. But then he said that we can learn through failure. So the good news is they are doing a lot of learning. And on the flip side of that, RC, you're going to like this. One of the reasons the Steelers offense doesn't look great is because their defense looks pretty incredible. Big reason for that, of course, is the addition of Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey in the backfield, and up front, those pass rushers, even with TJ Watt not practicing a ton, they don't want to wear him out before the season gets started, getting some younger guys, some reps in there. Jack Sawyer, Nick Herbig have looked good. Y.A. Black up front on that D-line has had a lot of batted balls, so this defense looks great. The offense has a little bit to go.
Brooke, thank you so much. You look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers are becoming. Omar Khan, the general manager, is having the most unlike Pittsburgh Steelers offseason that we've ever seen. But Mina, if this offense does struggle early, what is going to be the formula for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win?
Well, I think they got to be better at running the ball. I think this is kind of a run-first offense. Aaron Rodgers is a point guard. And you have to have a top 10 defense to carry that. Dan, I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. If this defense doesn't get better at defending motion, it's dead on arrival against the best offenses in the league. This was a huge problem against the Baltimore Ravens. It was a huge problem all season long. They were a bottom 5 unit in success rate when offenses used motion. When offenses didn't use motion, they were just outside the top 10. That is going to require not just new talent, but also better communication, coaching, because to my eye, Dan, that was probably the single biggest issue with this defense last season.
Oh, 100%. It was their major flaw. And RC, you know this better than anybody, so I'll ask you, what's the only thing that matters in Pittsburgh?
Championships.
Okay, so championships. The Steelers' defense has been the weakness of this football team in the playoffs, of this playoff drought that they're in. Everyone always correlates quarterbacks that fall short in the playoffs. For a defense that always is that top 5, top 7 defense, this is their playoff history since 2017 and what they've given up. 45, 48, 42, 31, and 28. So yes, this defense is going to have to, at least early on, maybe burden some of the weight until the offense catches up. If this is a playoff football team, it won't matter what the offense does if the defense doesn't play better. And that defense that you know has been a calling card of that organization for the longest time is the weakness when it matters the most. So they're in the division with Lamar Jackson, and everyone says, well, Lamar's a different quarterback in the playoffs than he is in the regular season. Well, Pittsburgh, your defense is a different unit in the playoffs than you are in the regular season. And unless that gets better, I don't care who your quarterback is. You can't get 31 hung on you a game and think you're going to beat anybody.
You know, it's not about the way you carry a team early. It's about how often you have to do it. How often does T.J. Watt have to make a sack late in the game to seal the deal? How often in the past does Mika Fitzpatrick have to get a pick? And so there's so many different things that this defense can't allow itself to be worn out.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So last year on the show, we talked about the defense versus motion. We've talked about motion on the show for 4 or 5 years. Mina just intimated it again last year. Why? Why have they struggled so bad?
So the first thing is they don't practice against it a lot. How often have we come in here and talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers offense being an offense that motions all the time? So you don't get to see it in practice. If you're the Los Angeles Rams, you see it all the time. If you're the San Francisco 49ers, you see it all the time. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, an offense that has been mostly stagnant, it's difficult to get those reps. Now, let's think about back in the day. The Pittsburgh Steelers could run the football, but they could stop the run. Why was that? Because it's been in every practice. You're hitting Deuce Staley, and also you're out here hitting Jerome Bettis. Mina, do you have something else?
No, I love your point. I was just going to jump in and say I would argue Patrick Queen might be the single most important player on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense this year. This is his second year in the system. They brought him into quarterback in the middle of the field. And guys, just how often did we see, it was specifically against the Baltimore Ravens, who happened to be in their own division. It felt like Todd Monken and that offense were toying with the second level of the Steelers defense. They have to spend their entire offseason keying in on that because if they can't get that fixed, if they're not consistently displaced or not displaced the way they were last year, I just don't see how it gets better. Even with a great pass.
Yeah, and I love that point. I love your point. Mike Tomlin's like one of the greatest coaches ever.
It has to get fixed. He has to put his imprint on this defense, but in the innovative way that he's moved, the way he coaches the people, he has to be more innovative in the way that he coaches schematically as well. And to the Patrick Queen point, he wasn't the guy at LSU. He wasn't the guy at Baltimore. Now he has to be the guy in Pittsburgh. He has to quarterback that defense. And also coming up, speaking of quarterbacks, the coach quarterback competition.
The defense does a great job of mixing players in. So backers, you got rookies out there sometimes. DBs, you got different guys out there. So it's not mentally I go out there and I'm like, oh, you know, these are the ones I'm going to get nervous. Like, it don't got anything to do with that. And truthfully, I don't care what O-line I go out there with. It could be 1s, 2s, 3s, whatever the situation is. And I know Friday when the game is, if I'm with 2s or I'm with 3s, it don't matter to me. I'm just ready to get down and get to, you know, doing what I could do.
Shedeur Sanders seems ready to play. Now let's stay with the Browns as we get to some top stories with Adam. Adam, what's going on with the QB competition in Cleveland?
Well, RC, Shedeur Sanders returned to practice today after missing some time with shoulder soreness. However, rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel is now limited due to hamstring tightness. So there are a couple of minor injury issues to monitor with the Cleveland quarterbacks as they also continue to take long looks at Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, who figure to be in the lead for the starting job. And of course, we have the Micah Parsons issue in Dallas right now. He is back at practice today wearing a number 11, which just goes to show you that there can still be progress that's being made, even though he...
Okay, I think we might have lost Adam for a second here. So we're going to get to the Colts here. Dan. So, Dan, the Colts put an or in their QB depth chart, right? It's Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. And when you think about this, we obviously know when you bring Daniel Jones over, it's to bring him over to compete.
Yep.
If you're Anthony Richardson and you're looking at the depth chart and it says that in quotations, or what's your feelings?
Absolutely nothing. I control who the starter is at the top of the depth chart on September 7th. That's week 1. August 4th doesn't matter. Anthony hasn't participated fully in all of the offseason, so that was going to be a natural thing. They told